Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Deb Sofield, and you're listening to my weekly podcast series called Encouragement for Your Life. Most of you know I'm a national speaker, trainer, and coach. I like to say I help people find their voice and learn to use it. I'm also a conference speaker on the topics of public speaking, presentation skills, how to deal with the media, and crisis communication. I've got a number of other presentations on my website if you'd like to check those out. If your organization has an upcoming conference and you need a keynote speaker, I hope you'll reach out at debsofield.com. I would love to be a part. I've got a number of great books on the market. My best-selling book, Speak Without Fear. My book, Perfecting Your Platform. Both of those are on Amazon and Audible if you like to listen to books. And my series, Encouragement for Your Life, which is a compilation of these podcasts, they're available on Amazon, volumes 1 through 3. Just go into Amazon, type in my name, Deb Sofield, all my books will appear. Thanks for joining me today. I've got a great show, and I have to say, although it's hard, friend, sometimes you and I, we've got to be our own hero. Thanks for joining me. Stay tuned. Let me come right back after the break. Let's talk about this. So recently, I've been looking through the past files of my online version of my writing and reviewing a lot of the themes that I've written about on these blog posts. As I scroll through week after week, one thing that struck me was the fact that I am drawn to a few themes. It's interesting since so much of my writing and blogs and podcasts, in a very real sense, are somewhat random thoughts that just happen to pop in my head, of course, after a prayer for guidance. And then 5 or 6 or 7 pages later, shazam, a new radio show appears. People often ask me, hey, Deb, how do you come up with a new thought weekly? I wish I had a magic formula, but all I can tell you is that I literally sit down on a Tuesday, say a prayer for wisdom, and perhaps look through some files for quotes, and then I just start writing. You know, sometimes the theme reminds me of stories from my childhood or my current life and work. As you know, I've tried a lot of things, and some of those wacky ideas have provided me with the fodder for the files of life that I fill with hope and laughter, and I hope a bit of wisdom, and if I may be so bold as to claim it. I also noticed that I like to write about not giving up, believing in yourself, trusting your intuition, and friend, knowing that you have value, no matter how you feel about yourself. I've written over and over about the idea that you matter. And your personhood is not only one of a kind, but it is also needed in the world today. Yeah, against all odds, you've got great value. And that's why I encourage you to work through the pain, fight through the process, and allow the journey to polish you into the bright star that you are. And I know you can be. And I know it sounds cheesy, but it's true. Listen, the more you go through the battle, the more you know what not to do next time and whom to trust for your next adventure. See, if you didn't fight through to success, you're never going to know the thrill of victory or, the whole idea of defeat. Listen, even if you're running alone, at least you're making some movement. I also have a file of responses that people have written me about my post and blogs and radio show and newsletters. And I have to say most of them are positive. A few people just swear that I'm talking or writing about them, and how dare I put their troubles out in the open. But I don't know them. I've never met them. I wouldn't know them if they came to my house. What's so funny is that when you hit on a theme or something that hurts, you just think, well, everybody's talking about you. No, nobody's talking about you, okay? These are just things that pop in Deb's head. I have to say, majority of the notes are very nice thank you messages, and they serve as reminders that tomorrow will most likely be better, or at least be a bit clearer as they travel in the direction of their dreams. Reading through all these brought to mind another simple truth that's so important to remember, and it's this: no matter what you're going through, I hate to tell you this, but in today's world, sometimes you and I, we've got to be our own hero. Yes, sometimes you have to be your own hero. I'll admit there's a part of me that really hates that that's true for so many good people. When did the world and our friends and family fall away so much that they cannot or will not cheer you or anyone else on to victory, or at least the finish line? Friend, if that's where you find yourself today, let me remind you that it is the singleness of purpose that has made so many of you, my listeners and my readers, into amazing people, or should I say heroes, that you are today. Yes, many good people bear the scars, either inwardly or outwardly or both. But they keep pressing on because they know they have to be their own hero for their kids, for themselves, or the company. After all, no one will be showing up at the finish line with a trophy, as hard as that is. While I admit I kind of dislike the fact that this has become such a part of our world that we live in, I'm just not going to sugarcoat the truth. Finding, keeping, and growing old with loyal, kind, loving friends and family, hey, listen, it's not easy to do in today's hypersensitive, self-absorbed, snowflake, opinionated, domineering, pompous, inflexible, important, broken, hot mess world. Okay, those are all the words I can think of. Now, that being said, the way to survive and even thrive is to face the fact that in this life, sometimes you've got to be your own hero. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that idea if it's what it takes to keep you going forward in your amazing life. Heroes come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, peoples and pets, times and seasons. And we've probably overused the word so much that we don't have a real good explanation for who or what exactly a hero is in today's environment. When I was a kid, Wonder Woman, starring Linda Carter, was all the rage among my friends. She was pretty, she was smart, she was strong. She upheld the ideas of justice and truth, and possessing the power, with bangles on her wrist, to stop a speeding bullet, all while wearing a bathing suit outfit with white heels. I mean, seriously, who wears white heels to battle but Wonder Woman? Okay, I'm not sure what character my brothers looked up to. I know they sneaked a look at Wonder Woman often. But for them, heroes look like Superman or Spider-Man or some other buff hero who saved the day by the last frame of the comic book. Ah, the good old days when you could spot a superhero by the cape they wore. Now, today's heroes rarely wear capes. Most go by the names of mom, dad, sister, brother, teacher, officer, nurse, and many others. And if you believe the ads, heroes now include pizza makers. Okay, I can agree to that one. Well, whatever visual picture comes to mind when you think of a hero, let me remind you to add yourself to that photo. A while back, I posted a quote on Facebook that said, "If I were to ask you to name all the things that you love, how long would it take for you to name yourself?" Ouch. Hey, the truth is, I doubt anyone knows all you do to make life better for those you love and care for, and that's fine. However, don't be discouraged by the lack of recognition. As long as you know what you've done, that should be reward enough. Seriously, people, that is reward enough. The idea of being your own hero goes to the simple issue of self-belief. Belief in yourself that you have what it takes to make life better. The belief that you're prepared to handle what comes your way, even when it hurts. And the belief to know, as my history professor from years ago would say before a test, this too shall pass away. Then you can move on to the next chapter of your life. In our social media obsessed world, we don't have time for heroes. We have the Twitter mentality, X mentality, for a time for the sensation of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, or America's Got Talent, or Dancing with the Stars. Now, hate to break it to you, a hero is someone who stays until the job is done, who provides a shoulder to cry on when breakdowns happen, and who, by their presence, says all they need to say, many times without saying a word. Those are the heroes we need now more than ever. So what I find so interesting is that most people would never consider themselves a hero until the opportunity presents itself for them to act. I think of Sully Sullivan, who landed the plane on the Hudson River safely, or Kyle Carpenter, who was honored for his bravery while serving in Afghanistan, and so many others who received a day or two recognition, and now they just go on quietly with their lives. We can all think of great people in history who, by their actions, made our lives better. But let's bring it closer to home. Your home. No matter what the outside world says about you or your position in life, let me be the friend who reminds you that sometimes, friend, you gotta be your own hero, so others can see a welcoming light and find their way to safety. Listen, there's nothing wrong with being your own hero. In fact, it might just be the best thing you can be, since it will fully encompass all you are and all you'll ever be. I want to close with a quote from the Disney movie Hercules. A true hero isn't measured by the size of his strength, but by the strength of his heart. And frankly, if you were to ask me, that is the essence of being a true hero. Someone whose heart's in the right place, beating for the betterment of others and themselves. So remember, sometimes you got to be your own hero. So friend, put on your cape and go save the world. Yet another message I really like. I wish it was easier, friend. I really do. Not just for myself, but for you. But the fact is, sometimes against all odds, we just have to stand and push against the wind and use the wind to lift our sails so we can go where we want to go. All right, you've been listening to, believe it or not, Deb Sofield's encouragement for your rockstar amazing life. Hope you'll join me next week. I want to continue this journey as we work towards a better day. And remember, Deb doesn't care what the world says about you. I want you to know I care about you. And I care about you because I believe you can do big things. You just got to put on your cape. You have to change your mindset. You have to do what you can with what you have to help those around you. And I make this one promise. I will walk alongside you as we follow that dream together. Thanks for joining me. Join me next week for Deb Sofield's encouragement for your life. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend.